Okay, welcome to this brand new course that is entirely architectural and construction using AutoCAD. We'll dive into other aspects of construction drawings as well. So this first project is simple. While people are starting to get the software loaded, we're going to create a chair in Plan. And that way you can experience everything like the interface and working with layers and a little bit about scale factors and creating a drawing for this assignment. The first thing we'll do is we'll start a brand new drawing. Here I'm going to click on the new button, and I'm using 2025, but if you have a couple of years older, it should be okay. The Macs are completely different. Just so you know, you would need to navigate a lot different screen in order to work with it. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the new button, and so now we have a blank drawing. We want to be able to save it. So if you look up here, it's just going to be like drawing 1, drawing 2. So we're going to go over here, and under the big red A at the top, you have a choice here to just save right there. So you'll navigate over to your folders, and let's call this one Assignment 1, Chair. Assignment 1, and then the word chair. And go ahead and pick Save. There's a lot more that we're going to be covering, but this is just to get us started here. Now that it's saved, it is a DWG extension. And just so you know that the first time that I manually come back up here and pick save, either here or you see all of these match the icons up here. So I can click on save. The first time that you pick save, it doesn't show you, but you're creating now a backup file in that same folder with the BAK. Please don't submit the BAK when you submit this project in Canvas. We want you to send the DWG. All right. So if we started right now, we draw everything on this layer 0. There's only one layer right there, 0. So we want to be able to organize it with a couple of layers in our drawing, and we'll talk more about what those mean. Right now, the objects are going to go on the different layers so that we can use those in different ways. So click on Layer Properties right there. And once you click on Layer Properties, you can come over here and find the little icon with the little sun icon right there. New layer, click on that. And we'll create a new layer called Furniture and press Enter twice. And let's create another layer called Dim Text. It's all one word. What I like to do is put the dimensions and the text all on one layer. But you'll see that companies are using 50 to 600 different layers. And for this example, we're just going to keep it basic with these two. We'll keep everything on and thought out and unlocked. These should all be yellow. But we will, these icons should all be yellow, but we are going to change the color. So for the furniture layer, you can click on this little box here under color and decide on the color. We're using a black background. We usually use these colors that are in the strip here. They are like 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go ahead and use green and then pick OK. You can use a different color, but be careful about using dark colors because they won't show up as well on the black background. And then over here, I'm just going to leave the dim text layer white, but you can go ahead and change that color as well. Okay, so we're going to start adding to our experiences, but for now, in order for us to start drawing on the furniture layer, we want to double click on the little sheet of paper next to furniture. There is an icon up here that has a green check mark. It sets that layer current. And if you notice up here, now that layer is the top one. That's the one that we're going to be drawing on. So now we can close out of this layer properties dialog box right there. And we're ready to start drawing. This is the chair and I just drew it in plan here, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to just draw it in plan. The most important part of the screen is the command line. Some of you may have taken another CAD class before this one, but some are coming in not knowing any AutoCAD, so we're starting with some of the basics. The command line is what you want to keep your eye on as you're starting to work on these projects. So go ahead and click on the line icon right there. And when you do that, you see this command line, it says line specify per first point. So just to show you here, if I wanted to draw a box, let's just say any box, we'll just practice a little bit. That's like 10 inches by 10 inches. You can click a point and then don't click another point yet. Just pull your mouse straight to the right. Look for that green tracking vector, type in 10 and enter. See, what you're doing is you're not really picking a point. You're just pulling your mouse in the direction you want to go in, and I'm going to type in 10 and enter. And then I'll come over here to the left and type in 10 and enter. And then if you watch your command line, you can see that we have options after where it says or, and one of them is close. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the word close, and it closes right back to the first point that you picked. So there's your 10 by 10 inch box. If you wanted to find out that it really was 10 inches, you can double click on it and look for the length right there, 10. Assumed to be 10 inches. It's unit list right now. We are working with feet and inches in this class, but I will show you at least one example of what could happen in a metric drawing as well. Okay, so I use the escape key. That's another thing I wanted to show you is that when you start a command, any command, you see how it started here. If you click on the button at the top left corner called ESC or escape a couple times, you see how it cancels it out. So your main thing to look at right down here is the command line where it says type a command. It's just ready for you to enter something. You can use the wheel of your mouse, and I would highly recommend that you get a mouse like with the wheel, to roll the wheel here back and forth, and also to hold the wheel down and kind of like move the view around. You can also double click on the wheel and you'll get the whole zoom extents. So you can roll the wheel, you can hold the wheel down, and you can double click to get all of it and then roll it towards you here to see what you're working with. You'll see that this little UCS icon, this XY, kind of comes out of the corner. That's the default 0, 0 of this coordinate system that we're working with. Okay, more about all of that as we move forward. Right now we need to have a different size chair. So if you want to erase something, you can click on it once. You'll get those like blue grips. And that means that you've selected it. And then you could come up here and click on the erase icon. You can click on the delete on the keyboard. There are a lot of different options there. Another thing that might happen is, and I want you to experience this, if you click in space and you let go of your pointer, you'll get these boxes that you can use to select objects. So you can select objects that are crossing over and inside the box, coming to the left, and objects that are completely inside the box here to the right. Sometimes I'm just going to go ahead and click in space. Sometimes when you hold your left mouse button down, some people like to hold their left mouse button down, you'll get kind of like this selection. It's really just selecting the objects. You see how these were selected? And now if I use my escape key, I can get those unselected. So using your escape key also will unselect something. All right, just a little bit of practice before we get going with starting this chair. Another choice to erase objects is to actually start the erase command. You see we have a draw panel up here at the top. We're in the home tab. And we use the line tool. If you just rest your pointer on any one of these tools, it'll kind of tell you what it does. And then the second panel is this modify panel. And then you can see there's the eraser right there. So you can go ahead and click on the erase icon. And now your command line says select objects. So now you can click on one at a time or go back to, selecting the objects with this box or holding your left mouse button down and selecting it this way. Once you're done, when your command line says select objects and you're done, you really have to know to press enter or right click. So the right click is like an enter, or you can press enter on the keyboard. My neighbor is building an addition, so you might hear the sounds of hammers or scaffolding coming down. Yeah, right there. Right, so now the furniture layer is current, and we're ready to start this chair. If we start a line command and we just kind of randomly click around, you can see that you're, drawing it without any kind of measurement there. If you draw one line too many, remember those commands that are in the command line there? We don't want to close it, but maybe we want to undo it. You can undo one line segment at a time. You can type in the C or U as well. So I can type in U and enter. You see how I'm undoing one at a time. And now I'm going to enter when I'm done. Now, if you didn't want to do that, there are some icons up here. The arrow that's curving to the left, which is undo. You can just go ahead and click on that to undo. And then there's a redo if you needed that back. So eventually you can just go ahead and erase everything. We're back at nothing drawn. We're going to practice this over and over so we can get started today with this smaller project, and then we can build our experiences. So we looked at the draw panel and the modify panel, and we created our layers. And so we have a box that's 18 inches by 22 inches. You can start the line command right there. Let's click a point that's down here at the bottom left. Pull your mouse over and type in 18 and enter. Pull your mouse straight up. Now, while you're doing this, you can hold your wheel of your mouse down to kind of navigate up. So pull your mouse up, type in 22 and enter. Pull your mouse to the left, make sure it's straight, type in 18 and enter. And then for this, I can type in C for close, the letter C, and enter, or just click on the word close. And there's your box. Now, we said you could double click on the line to see that that's 18. I'm going to use my escape key to get out of that. There is another measurement tool up here. It's under utilities, and the utilities panel, right? You see how if I made this bigger all the way across, it would be the utilities panel with measure right here. So underneath measure, they've got this really cool command that they added called quick. So I can go quick, measure under quick, and just move your mouse around to kind of if you were in a busy drawing, you'd see a lot of dimensions here. But I can verify that this is actually 18 by 22. Another way of measuring something is to go to distance. Distance, I can click 2 points. So I'm clicking this point. I'm coming over here to see that this is 18 as well. All right. Now, you see how this is 18 and this is 22, but we really need to eventually change our units. We're going to do this when we work with architectural drawings. Let's go ahead and escape out of that. We don't necessarily have to do it here because we're going to stay with inches and not feet. But let me show you the difference here. If you type in units, all one word, and enter, you can change the length type here to architectural. It doesn't change anything other than the way that you enter information, the way that you see it on the command line. and when we're measuring stuff. So the only thing you're changing is the length type to architectural and pick OK. So you typed in units and pressed enter to change this to architectural. Now go back to measure and even quick. Go back to measure and quick. And you see the difference? The difference is that it's showing you 1 foot 6 inches instead of the 18 inches. You just changed the way that it looks at those numbers. And later in the next assignment, we'll take a look at how to enter feet and inches. This one's basically inches. I'm going to use the escape key to get rid of that. And now I've got, let's go back to take a look at what else I need. So we just drew those lines. Okay, so we have a little back to this chair. I made it 2 inches. So we're going to use the command called offset. We can like create a copy of this line going down 2 inches. So up here, we're going to, in the modify panel, click on offset. This icon in the modify panel here, just a couple below erase right there. Stop and look at your command line. This command asks you for the offset distance first. You don't ever have to type in inches, so we're just going to type in 2 and enter. That's our distance. Then it's asking us to select the object to offset. Well, that's what this line right here is. This is my object that I'm going to offset. And now you see you can either click above or below it. It's asking you to specify the point on the side to offset. So we want to go down, pull your mouse down and click. And there's your offset, a new command that we were using in this smaller project. Now at this point, you can either right click to enter or escape to get back to the command line as saying like type a command. Some commands will automatically cancel out the command before, but there are a couple that if you start a command while you're inside one, then things don't work out that well. So the next tool that we want to use is called fillet, and that's going to give us these round corners for our, chair corner. The fillet command is just kind of here diagonal to erase. It also has chamfer, but we're going to just stick with fillet, F-I-L-L-E-T. When you start this command, watch your command line again. We have 2 of them, 2 corners. So if you have multiple fillets, it's a good idea to click on multiple first or type in M for multiple. So I'm going to click on multiple. And then I need to change the radius because you see by default the radius is 0. So I'm going to click on radius. So start the fillet command, click on multiple, click on radius. Now it's asking you in the command line, specify fillet radius. Just type in 2 and enter. Now you're ready to select these 2 lines to create that little radius. I'm going to click on this first object here and here. See that? I'm clicking on the part of the object that I want to keep. And then it automatically trims it back by default and gives you this nice radius of 2. That is our project. That is the project that we're starting with to keep it simple. For those of you who are just starting out, we're going to now add the dimensions and the text. Okay. Where we are going to learn a little bit about scale factor here too, because this is a big object. I'm going to use the escape key to get out of this. This is a big object. This is potentially bigger than a sheet of paper. So it's not a 1-to-1 scale. We're going to keep everything in model space 1-to-1, drawn at full scale. So when we get to these floor plans, they're going to be drawn huge in this space. And then what we're going to do is increase the dimension scale and the text scale around the object. That way we can keep this full scale drawing. Okay, we'll get more practice with that as we move forward. I'm going to, for this assignment, let you know what the scale factor is based on already drawing it, and bring you through the commands. So we need to make a different layer current. We're done with the object layer, what I'd like to do is to show you how to move something on the right layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is place this linear dimension up here on the furniture layer, and then we'll move it to the right layer. So up here in the annotation tab, you could use this big icon called dimension, but that is kind of like a dimension for all dimensions, and it doesn't work really well for everything. So for the beginning here in this class, let's go to this drop down and click on linear right here in the annotation tab, linear. And with the linear command, when we're placing dimensions, we're going to click 3 points. The first point is going to be, and look at your command line, the first extension line origin. So we're going to click the top left right there. The second extension line origin is going to be over here. Click, click, and then you're going to pull your mouse up to where you want the dimension and click. The first thing you're going to see is that it's really small, and that's that scale factor I told you about. This is like taking a very small dimension that you used for a drawing of your phone and putting it next to the room that you're in, the wall that's in the room that you're in. So it's going to be a lot bigger. So we adjust in this model space the text height, and we're going to take a look at doing that right now. Before we do though, this object, this dimension is on the wrong layer. We want it to be in the dim text layer. So I'm just going to click on it once to select it. Then I'm going to drop down this list and pick dim text right there. The word. You see how it turns white? Use your escape key to get rid of that. So this is how you move an object to the right layer. You select it. It tells you what layer it's on, and then you drop the list down of layers and pick which one you want it to go on, right? But we still have the furniture layer current. We don't want that because we're going to draw additional dimensions. So we're going to drop this list down right now and click on dim text. Now that one is at the top of the list so that the next dimension is going to be on that layer. Now I know this is all new to you. We're going to use this several times. So eventually the practice of it will come to you as we work with several assignments and in a comfortable way. I'm here to help you to work through it. So what I did want to show you is a new layer is created called def points. We want to stay away from the def points layer. That layer holds these little points that are at the end of the extension line. Just leave layer 0 and def points alone until we talk about layer 0 a little bit more, and def points is set up for those dimensions. You won't even see that layer until you start to dimension. Okay. You see how small this dimension is? We need to change the dimension style so that it is bigger. And I think I want to go back to my drawing and just take a quick look at what I used. I used over here, this is where we're going, I used 6. So it's 6 times bigger. I'm going to go back to our drawing. So together, let's go ahead and type in the letter D and enter. When you type in the letter D, it brings you to the Dimension Style Manager. And this is where we want to click on the Modify button. Over here in all these different tabs, now we're changing the dimension. We want to go to the Fit tab. The Fit tab is where you change the overall scale. So you click on Fit, and you go over here and you change this overall scale to 6. We're making it 6 times bigger so that we can actually see the text. And later on, we'll talk about why we would do that for printing as well. While we're in here, we need to change our units. We'll go to primary units. Now, if we use architectural instead of decimal, we're going to see like 1'6". And we'll get to that on other projects. For this one, we want to see the inches, 18 inches. So one way is to click on fractional. You go to fractional, and then under suffix is going to be anything and everything that's after the dimension. So under suffix right there, we're going to put the little inches mark, which is holding your shift key down and clicking that button right next to enter on the keyboard to get like those, oh geez, they're called quotations right there, little like inches. And I think that's it. If anything, we'll come back here and change it if it doesn't look right. So we'll go ahead and pick, oh, there is something else. Let's go to the text tab. In the text tab, we want the text placement vertical to be above. You see how we're like changing this so that it's architectural. We'll do this again as we move forward and work with more of the architectural construction type of drawings, because we have kind of a different look than the mechanical, drawing or drafting. We want to have the text placement vertical above the dimension line instead of within it, and we want to click in front of aligned with dimension line so that our horizontal text, you see how the preview looks, goes, vertical. That should be it. Let's go ahead and pick OK and close. And now you should have that 18 inches. If it didn't work out, you can always type D and enter and go back and figure out what it was that you need to update. All right. You see I'm using the wheel of my mouse to zoom around. Guys, if you don't have a wheel on your mouse, you can use these navigation tools over here on the side. It's highly recommended that you get a mouse with the wheel on it. Here, you can click on full navigation wheel if you just have your laptop without the zoom. And now if you click on this full navigational wheel, you should get this wheel here. And this wheel, be careful about using this because it'll bring you into a 3D view, and you want to avoid that because right now we're working with 2D. But it is a way of zooming and panning. Here, you just hold the left mouse button down and it will zoom and pan like here. Okay, I'm going to close out of this little wheel. I just wanted to show you in case you didn't have a mouse with the wheel. All right, so now we've got the dim text layer current. We can go back to linear. I'm going to click the top left corner right there. I'm going to click the bottom line at the end point right there and pull your mouse over and click. Guys, make sure that when you're dimensioning, you are right on the corner. And you'll know that because you'll get this little box. You'll get something. You'll get a note or a box that tells you that you're on the end point. And now you know that you're working with accuracy. You want that box to be there or else it's not going to be right on. So I'm going to click here and here, pull your mouse over and click for the 2 inches. And then the last dimension is underneath linear. It's called radius. So underneath linear here, drop down, click on radius, click on this curve right there. Just pull your mouse over and click, just like that. Now we're ready to put the text. I believe I made the text 6 inches. I'm going to go ahead back and just take a quick look. Nope, I made it 1.2 size bigger. So this means that when we place the text, we're going to change the height while we're placing it. All right. So your dim text layer is current. I'm going to go up to text. It's in this panel again, and multi-line text. Now, the first thing you should see right here, you'll look, there's that little dot that's actually the text. It's too small. So we're creating this kind of like box to put the text in. So I'm going to go ahead and click my first corner and then stop and look at your command line. One of the choices is height. So I'm going to click on height, type in 1.2 and enter. See how now I can start to see the text? Now I'm going to pull my mouse over here over to the right and down and click. I'm now ready. See how the whole ribbon changes? I'm ready to put my cap locks on and type in assignment 1 chair, press enter, and you go ahead and put your name there. Don't put my name, put your name right there. We want to start to underline our titles, so hold your left mouse button down and drag it across assignment 1. Find up here at the top left the underline, the U for underline right there. And now you can click in space and you've got your text. Now, if your text ended up really far over here someplace because of where you clicked, you can click once on your text and then use this blue grip to click inside to move it. Or you can hold your left mouse button down on the text and move it around. Move it to where you want it to go. Drop, like it's a drag and drop right there. If you need to modify your text, double click on it. Double click and you'll get back into this text editor. The whole ribbon changes and now I can click in space. This is our first assignment, and it's very basic for you to, get used to working with AutoCAD. We're going to print it now and go through that as a way of kind of like picking up all of the tools. We're just going to print to the paper and get used to printing. So up at the top left corner, where we can save it, like you can always click on save to save it. Click on the little printer icon right there. It says plot. Another choice is to go on under this drop down, the red A, and go to print and over to plot. I kind of like the idea of clicking on this printer icon. Because I have multiple drawings open, I'm going to pick continue to plot a single sheet, but you should just go right into this dialog box. In this dialog box, you're going to change the printer. We don't have a printer connected right now, so let's go ahead and always use the ACAD PDF high quality print. We need to create PDFs so that we can have kind of a documentation of what we're doing. So click on ACAD PDF high quality print. We'll use an 8.5 by 11, but we're going to change the plot area display to window so that we can create a window around what we want to print. So click on window, and then what we want to do is kind of back up a little bit and think of this as like clicking a point and creating a box around your object that illustrates the paper, like represents the paper. So I'm going to click a point, pull my mouse over, and give enough like equal space around randomly. Go ahead and click OK. Right. Underneath that, we're going to click in front of center the plot. Then at the top left, top right, we're going to change this to monochrome. This plot style table to monochrome CTB and pick yes. That's going to make it a black, black and white print. And then always, always, always pick apply to layout and preview. You want to preview it at the bottom left corner. And this is kind of a preview of your drawing. So if you roll the wheel, one thing we did miss, we have to go back. But because we saved it, we can. So let's go ahead and right click and exit or escape out of that. And we're going to cancel this printing. Don't print it yet. We have it saved though. So one thing we forgot to do was to change the object line weight. So right now the print preview showed me that all the line weight was the same. Let's go back over to layer properties right here. For the furniture layer, so highlight the furniture layer. We want to come across and find the column called line weight. Click on the word default right now, right there. And scroll down. We're going to make this thick, like 0.60 millimeters. So for the furniture layer, we followed that over, clicked on the word default right there under line weight. We change this to 0.6 and pick OK. And now we can close out of this layer dialog box, go back to printing. I'm going to pick continue to plot a single sheet. And now we can preview it again. Check all of your settings, which should be there from before. There it is. See the difference? The difference is that this one now has the bolder, line weight for the objects, which is typical in our field, and the dimensions. And now we're ready to print. You can right click and plot, or you can go ahead and click the little printer at the top left. What it's going to do is create a PDF file in your folder. So you have to navigate over to where you want the drawing. I know I have a lot of different folders here, but this is, whoop, did I put it in the right folder? You are going to create a folder that you can put all of these things in. You can go ahead and leave it as assignment 1 chair model, because we're kind of in the model space, and go ahead and pick save. And there it is. We created a PDF of your project, and it should look like this. I'm going to close out of this PDF and go back to the drawing. I think at this point we are all set. We went through kind of a basic way of learning how to use lines and the erase command, the fillet, the offset. We use the multi-line text and the linear dimension. Notice when you use one of these in the drop-down, that becomes the top icon. In case you're looking all over for the linear, once you use radius, that becomes the top icon. We looked at layer properties and how to work with the basics of layers. All right, then, save your file and submit the DWG and the PDF, both to Canvas as your assignment 1 for today. Awesome. Have a good one. Please keep in touch if you need any help or have any questions. I'm here to help you through it.